Hello and welcome to part 9 of videos dedicated to Microsoft Access. In previous part number 8 we went over the basics of SQL, structured query language, and just a reminder, structured query language deals with 4 types of operations in the database. It can create a new record, update existing record, delete existing record, and this is the most powerful feature that we're going to be dealing with in this section of the videos. In section number 8 we went over creation, update and deletion of the records. So today we're going to concentrate in this section on reading, selecting or fetching different words for the same operation from records from multiple tables. Okay, so let's switch over to Microsoft Access and let's work with clients table for now. In the clients table I have 2 records, one for the client name ABC LLC and another for XYZ Incorporated. Let me go ahead and add a couple of more records. For example, QWERTY LLC that resides at 3 Second Street, and I believe we used Norfolk, imaginary city of Norfolk in Maryland, with imaginary zip code, something like that, and phone number, and just something. Okay, and let me go ahead and create actually another one, ABC, XYZ, QWERTY, and this one I'm going to call CNU, for example. And CNU is located, well, let's do VCU. Actually, VCU is in the Richmond, Virginia, right? So we're going to call it 4 Michigan Avenue. All right, and the city is Richmond, Virginia. Obviously, the zip code I have no idea, so make something up. 804.111.2233. Okay. So let's go ahead and create a new query. So again, what we're going to do is explore in what different ways we can read or select records from one or more tables. So I'm going to leave that open actually for now and go to the tab Create, where everything is located. And we are doing the new query, so click on the query design and close out of the visual editor and switch over to the SQL view. Okay, so this time around we're not going to delete the word select, but actually use that. So from now on, everything that we do with SQL queries will deal with select records in one or another way. So we're going to start with very simple, very basic query: select everything from one table. Everything in SQL is denoted by star. So if I say select star, basically it means select all columns and all records. And the only thing that's missing, I need to tell SQL what table I'm selecting that from. So select everything from, again, I'm not typing the word table because it's assumed, from clients. Okay, table called clients. Alright, and let's go ahead and run this query. So click on the run button, and not surprisingly, what you see in front of you is the entire content of the table clients. So all the records, I had 4 of them, and all fields, including client name, street, city, state, zip, and the phone address. Okay, so this is very simple. I'm going to save that query, so click on the save button, and I'm going to name query select underscore everything from clients query. Okay, and when I click OK button, a new record, new object is inserted into the group of queries, and that would be select everything from clients query that I just saved. And you can see that visually the icon is different, so it does not have quite the same picture as I had before. So this is an icon for select queries. Okay, so I'm going to close that one and we'll create a new one. So go to the tab Create, Query Design, and then close. and switch to the SQL view. So again, I'm going to start query with the keyword select. Now this time around, I'm going to select only certain columns. Everything in terms of rows, all the records, but only certain columns. For example, I want, let's say, company name or client name. That's how it's called in my table, client name, city, and the state. Okay, so instead of typing star, which means everything, now I'm going to provide a comma separated list of fields that I want to select from my table client. So I'm going to type select client underscore name, and here I have to be exact, because if I forget underscore, for example, well, I'll show you what will happen in this case. So for now I'm going to be precise, and then I'll show you what happens if you make a mistake. Client name, and then we have city, and then comma, state, and this is the end of my list, so I do not put another comma. Instead of that, I put space, and I say again from, don't say the word table, because it's implied, from table clients. Okay. Let's run this query, and let's see how it works. So when I click the run button, here is the a list of everything for me. So this list, by the way, kind of mini table, it's called DynaSet, meaning that it's dynamically populated set. Alright, so I have 4 records, because that's everything that I have in my table. And note that difference between this query and the previous one is some fields are missing. For example, I don't have street address, and I don't have zip and the phone. That's because I didn't list them as a list of my desired fields that I'm selecting from the table. So I'm going to save this query. I'm gonna call it select list of fields from table query. All right, and again I click OK. Here is my new query that I just saved. Now what I'm going to do is modify this query a little bit so that I can demonstrate you different functionality that we can achieve with SQL. So I'll go back to the SQL view and select this query that I just typed and copy that, close, and I'm going to create new query which will contain what I just copied plus something else actually. Alright, so query design, close, and switch to the SQL view. So I just started new query. So I'm going to paste what I had in the previous query, but now what I will do is modify this query a little bit so that I do not have all the records. This query selects only certain fields but provides me with all the records from the table. Now I'm going to actually add some filtering to this query. So in other words, I'm going to tell SQL query engine to select these columns from the table client, and also I'll specify which records I want to see in the DynaSet that results from running the query. How do I do that? Well, I can specify, for example, client ID. Okay, so for example, if I want to see this information, client name, city, and state, for client number 2 with ID number 2, then I just type keyword where at the end of the query, and I say client ID equals 2. So it will give me client name, city, and state for client with the identifier equals 2. Okay, so now I click the run button, and there it is. And I can verify that actually. Here's my table clients, which I kept open. Client ID number 2 corresponds to XYZ from Norfolk, Virginia. And that's exactly what I have in my DynaSet resulting from query. XYZ from Norfolk, Virginia. So I'm going to save that query again. So select given client information query. All right. and I click OK, and here is my new query. So my list of queries, the group, keeps getting longer and longer and longer. Now let me close this query and let's start a new one. Create, query design. Again, I'm going to close out and switch to the SQL view. So I'm going to type the same list, select client name. And I promised to show you what happens when you specify things incorrectly, right? Select client underscore name. Also, I want street, city, and also state from clients. Okay, so that's the query that I had before. So if I run it, it just gives me these selected fields and everything, all the records. So now let me go back to the SQL view and modify it. For example, let's say I made a mistake and instead of client underscore name, I selected the field client name, which does not exist in the table clients. So if I hit the run button, then I will see this window, enter parameter value. So that means that Microsoft Access does not see the field client name in the list of the columns for the table clients, and therefore it kind of thinks that you're trying to send a parameter to the query. So most of the time when you see window like that, it just basically means that you typed something incorrectly. You made a mistake in the name of the field or in the name of the table. So I'm going to cancel out of that and insert back underscore. So let me illustrate a couple of things, how selection of records work. So in the previous query, we selected a record with client ID number 2, like that, where client ID equals 2. But that's not the only way how I can select records. So I don't necessarily have to specify the condition for the primary key, which happens to be client ID in this case. For example, let's say that I want to select all clients from my table who reside either in Newport News or in Richmond. Okay, so I want to leave out clients from Norfolk. I want to see only clients from either Newport News or Richmond. Okay, so how do I do that? Well, it's the same first part of the query. Really select list of columns, client name, city, state, and then I have to say every time from which table all of that is coming. That would be from clients in this case, right? But the condition is going to be different. Instead of saying client ID equals 2, in the ending part of the query, the where statement, I'm going to type this, where city equals to, and now I have to actually put it in quotation marks because it's a string, right? City equals quote unquote, and in between the quote marks, I have to type Newport News. Okay. Or alternatively, remember what I want to do is see clients that are either from Newport News or Richmond. So I have to specify or statement over here and say city equals, again, quote unquote, and in between quotation marks, Richmond. Okay. Hope I didn't misspell anything. So this time around, I'm not specifying the condition for the primary key, but rather I'm specifying what should be in the column city. It can be Newport News or Richmond. Now let's run this query. So we go to the tab Design, click the Run button, and you can see that out of 4 records that I have in my table, the SQL engine skipped these records because they do not satisfy the condition, right? City is equal to Norfolk, but everything else, Newport News and Richmond, is selected, and that's what I see in my query. Okay, so I'm going to save this query, click on the Save button, and I'm going to call it select underscore or query. Okay, just to illustrate how the or keyword or operator works in SQL queries. So I'm going to click OK. And you can see that I have an additional record in the group queries. Alright, now I don't want to retype this query. I want to demonstrate one more operation that can be done inside the queries. So I'm going to switch back to the SQL view, and since I don't want to retype it, I'll just go ahead and copy that query, close, and I'm going to create a new one. So create query design, and again, show table close, switch to the SQL view. So I'm gonna paste the query that I selected. Now this time around, now if I run this query, obviously the same thing happens, right? I see the same dataset as before. This time around, what I want to see, for example, is a client name, city, and state for all clients who are located in the city of Norfolk, but Virginia. I don't want Norfolk, MD. So let's see what happens if I specify just one condition, right? So I'm going to get rid of the OR part of the query, and I'm just going to say here, select client name, city, and state from table clients, where city is Norfolk. Okay? So if I run this query right now, click on the Run button on the Design tab, it will give me two records, obviously, right? Because two records in my database match that criteria. Two clients are located in city of Norfolk, but the problem is one of them is in Virginia, another, imaginary Norfolk, located in the state Maryland. So what happens, what should I do if I want to see only customers, clients located in the city of Norfolk, but not in the city of Norfolk, Maryland, in Norfolk, Virginia, but not in Norfolk, Maryland? So obviously I have to specify additional condition, right? So I go back to the SQL view, and here in at the end of my query, where I specify the condition, where city equals to Norfolk, I have to add something extra. So this time around, I'm going to use the keyword AND, and state equals to VA. And again, VA, Virginia, I should enclose inside a double quotation marks, because just like city, it is a string, 2 characters, right? So this time around, if I run the query, it will pick up client name, city, and state from table clients for me, which match actually 2 criteria simultaneously. So Norfolk should be in the column city, and the VA, Virginia, should be in the column state. So therefore, this record that mentions the client QWERTY LLC from Norfolk, Maryland, will not make the cut and will not show up in the results of my query, because Norfolk meets the criteria, but Maryland does not. So there is only one record, right, that should result from this query. So if I go back and run this query, so on the Design tab there is a Run button, I see only one record, client XYZ Incorporated from city Norfolk in Virginia. So I'm going to save this query, and I'm going to call it select. Previous one was called OR, so I'm going to call this AND query. Okay, and then I click OK button, and I have a new query in the list of my queries, in the group of the queries. So this is how we can select information from one table, right? Everything that we did in this video was related to only table clients. We started with selecting everything, then we said, well, we can select only certain columns. We provided a comma-separated list of columns. And then we said, well, we can also select only certain records. And then we provided the criteria using the keyword where. And then after that, what we did is we expanded this last part of the query, where we can condition the query not based on the client ID, but based really on any field of the table. And we selected to condition on city. And the last query, where we use the operator AND, we conditioned actually on 2 of them, right? 2 columns, city and the state. Okay, so in the next video, number 10, I'm going to show you how more complicated queries are created in SQL, where you select information from more than one table. So we're going to join 2 tables together, and then after that we're going to join actually 3 tables together. Alright, so this is the end of this video.